Starting off at number 10, a sign of respect. Not all women choose to wear the hijab. Some women wear alternative versions known as head coverings, head scarves, or head wraps. In many instances, women don't cover their heads consistently for religious purposes, but instead as a sign of respect or obligation. For example, as a sign of respect, many women choose to or are asked to wear a head covering when entering certain places of worship. I personally have worn a head covering on multiple occasions when visiting a variety of places of worship in my travels to various countries. Even my late grandmother would wear a headscarf as a sign of respect whenever she went to church service. In other cases, when traveling to a country where it is the law for women to cover, a visiting woman would certainly cover as a sign of respect to the local culture, but also due to the obligation of the local laws. Up next, we have asserting an identity. Wearing the hijab or head covering is also a tool used by many women in asserting identity. French and British colonizers encouraged Muslim women to remove the veil and emulate European women. Consequently, in North African and Middle Eastern countries, the veil became a symbol of a national identity and opposition to the West during independence and nationalist movements. Today, some women wear the hijab to signal pride in their ethnic identity in history, and to send the message that they will not be changed to simply blend in with the masses. This is particularly important for hijabis living in countries where there has been an increase in prejudice, religious and cultural intolerance, and Islamophobia. Up at number 8, we have comfort. Some women just feel more comfortable wearing a hijab or head covering. For many, once they get used to applying the hijab every day or the head covering, it becomes like second nature and actually feels weird not to wear it. Being that the act of head covering is often associated with modesty and feelings of safety in a public setting, it also makes sense that wearing the hijab or head covering would add to a woman feeling more comfortable, especially around men she is not related to. And some people would be surprised, but wearing the hijab is actually connected to confidence. For many women, wearing the hijab or head covering gives a boost of confidence. Just like some women feel their best when they're wearing their favorite shade of lipstick, some women also feel a sense of confidence in wearing the perfectly paired hijab or headscarf with their outfit. Women take great care in how they wear and style their head coverings. Many women adding jewels or decorative pins, or even braiding or pleating techniques in the fabric of their head coverings. Indeed, a head covering or hijab can also be used as a fashion statement to complement an outfit, thus increasing pride and confidence in how a woman presents herself to others. It can also be used as an external declaration of faith. For some women, wearing the hijab or head covering gives them a sense of pride in wearing a visible declaration of their faith. Women can proudly wear their head coverings knowing that they are representing their religion or their culture, as well as setting a good example for others who share their same faith or culture. It can also be used to indicate that one's faith is an integral part of their identity within a community or group of people with common beliefs, values, and spiritual practices. Up at number 5, the halfway point today, we have the matter of convenience. For some women, the hijab or head covering is also a tool of convenience. For many women, the stress of having to style their hair and makeup every day is not realistic or manageable depending on their day-to-day obligations. Imagine having to run to the store after a long day of cleaning, cooking, and caring for children. Rather than having to style one's hair just to look presentable in public, a woman can easily throw on her head covering and go about her business. For religious women, it can also be seen as a convenience because Muslim women, for example, must wear a hijab when praying. Since Muslims pray frequently throughout the day, it is much more simple for women during prayer time if they are already wearing their hijab in their daily life. Up next, we have the feeling of protection or being protected. The hijab or head covering is universally recognized as a symbol that the wearer is likely a woman of faith and modesty, meaning that men can expect that a woman who covers will also hold herself highly accountable to her faith and commandments. It is a very clear sign to men that the wearer is not interested in being chatted up, harassed, or approached with advances. Of course, it is also understood that a woman's behavior must send the same message to back up the statement of wearing the hijab. And at number 3, we have the statement of feminism and female empowerment. In a world where a woman's beauty is often sold as a commodity used to sell everything from burgers to cars, choosing to cover oneself can surprisingly be seen as an act of rebellion. Many women choose to wear the hijab or head covering as an act of empowerment and taking back control of who they choose to share their beauty with. It also forces people to recognize them for their knowledge, skills, and abilities rather than their beauty, making a woman's character the quality of focus rather than their perceived sexual attractiveness. And of course, we have the reason of modesty. In many cases, women wear the hijab or cover their heads to shield the beauty of their hair, which in turn helps reduce the temptation and advances of others. A woman's hair can also be seen as her crown, something to be protected. By the way, wearing a hijab or hair covering is only one way of practicing modesty. Other efforts include wearing modest clothing that does not showcase the shape of the body, as well as covering the arms, legs, and chest area. Dressing modestly for many women is also a reminder in acting modestly to create a barrier between women and the opposite sex. For many women, choosing to cover their hair and bodies is a way of fighting against their own ego of the self in wanting to be appreciated or admired for their beauty. Instead of focusing on how they can be viewed as more attractive by others, women can value themselves for the beauty they contribute through who they are as a person and not how they look as a woman. And then up at number 1, the most important reason to be closer to God. For many religious women, wearing a hijab is not merely seen as a piece of cloth or head covering. It is also a command from God. So in the purest form, wearing the hijab or head covering is simply obeying God's command. Some women have described wearing the hijab as giving them a spiritual high that makes the wearer feel closer to God. Just like some may feel closer to God by wearing the symbol of the cross, the hijab also connects women with God as a physical reminder of upholding their religious values and commandments. Many women who cover talk about it as a way of demonstrating their submission to God and use it as a constant reminder to hold fast to religious beliefs such as being modest, honest, and generous to those in need.
Starting with number 10, Estonia, 52.57%. Estonia, like other Eastern European nations, has been struggling with the aftermath of World War II, as well as dealing with various public health issues such as heavy drinking as well as smoking. Shockingly, the average Estonian man consumes 17.5 liters of alcohol every single year, more than double that of women. And sadly, Estonia has one of the highest self-unaliving rates in Europe, with men committing self-unaliving almost 5 times more often than women. Now, to add to this, nearly 11,000 Estonians leave their country every single year to find better economic prospects, with the majority of them being men. The country at number 9 is Portugal at 52.82%. Since the year 2010, Portugal has experienced a rise in the number of women as well as an increase in gender equality, which is a positive development. However, the Portuguese economy has encountered difficulties in recent years, leading many Portuguese men to seek better prospects elsewhere. Brazil, as well as other European Union member nations, are the most common destinations for Portuguese men looking to relocate. On top of that, the higher population of women in Portugal is partially due to the fact that men have lower life expectancy, and their average lifespan is 78 years compared to women. On average, their lifespan is 84 years in Portugal. Next up, we have Zimbabwe, 52.83%. Over in Zimbabwe, progress towards gender equality has been made, with women holding 31.9% of parliamentary seats as of February 2021. However, this positive step is overshadowed by the concerning fact that there is disproportionately a higher amount of women than men in the country, which presents its own set of challenges. In the year 2020, the male mortality rate was alarmingly high at 413% compared to the United States' rate at 138%, indicating the likelihood of passing away between ages 15 and 60. But despite this, Zimbabwe has experienced an overall decrease in mortality rates in recent years, giving hope that the gender imbalance and other issues can be addressed in the future. Coming in at the number 7 spot, we have Georgia, 52.98%. Georgia, a small but mighty country with a population of just 3.7 million, has a gender ratio of 52.98% women and 47.02 men. Despite its size, Georgia has a rich history of defending its independence against powerful neighboring countries like Russia and Turkey. However, limited economic opportunities have led to high rates of male immigration, and gender imbalance is largely due to mortality, which can be attributed to high rates of alcohol consumption, smoking, and other risky habits. Nevertheless, the Georgian people continue to persevere and work towards a better future. Lithuania drops in at the number 6 spot, 53.07%. Lithuania, much like its neighboring country Latvia, shares the same troubling trend of self-destructive behaviors among the male population. Men in this nation are known to have higher rates of alcohol abuse and smoking than women. In fact, smoking is so prevalent in Lithuania that over a third of Lithuanian men smoke daily, and many others, of course, they just smoke casually. But authorities in Lithuania have made it a top priority to discourage cigarette consumption. However, Lithuania does face a challenge of its young and skilled men leaving the country. Coming up at the number 5 spot, we have Luxembourg at a score of 0.899. Luxembourg, the small microstate, ranks 5th among the top countries for women as per the Georgetown Institute's data. Despite having a population of only 600,500 inhabitants, women enjoy a very comfortable and fulfilling life there. With an average of 12 years of schooling and an employment rate of 54.9%, Luxembourg's women are actively engaged in their society. Additionally, 31.7% of parliamentary seats in Luxembourg are held by women, marking an increase of 3 points since the year 2017. 85.6% of women in the country feel safe in their communities also. From there, let's take a look at the country of Denmark. Their score is 0.903. Denmark, similar to other Scandinavian countries, is renowned for its excellent quality of life, including high quality of life for women. Danish women have nearly 100% access to cell phones and the internet. Denmark, similar to other Scandinavian countries, is renowned for its excellent quality of life, including an excellent quality of life for women. Danish women have nearly 100% access to cell phones and the internet, and on average they complete 13.1 years of schooling. While 54% of eligible working women have active employment, there is still room for improvement in female inclusion as well as opportunities. In the political sphere, just under 40% of parliamentary seats in Denmark are held by women, and they even saw a female prime minister, Mette Frederiksen, who's a female. From there, let's take a look at the country of Iceland at number 3. Icelandic women complete on average of 12.6 years of schooling, and around 88% of working age women are active members of the workforce. Icelandic women also have some of the highest cell phone usage rates in the world, with 99.6% of them using cellular devices. Over 40% of parliamentary seats in Iceland are held by women, and in 1980 the country made history by electing the first female president, and they even saw a female prime minister that served since 2017. Next up at number 2, we have Finland. Their score is 0.909. Finland ranks as the second best country for women to live in and work in, just after Norway. Finnish women receive an average of 12.9 years of education, and 52.7% of them are engaged in active employment. When it comes to politics, women hold 46% of parliamentary seats, and the current Prime Minister, Sanna Marin, made history as the youngest head of government in Finland at the age of 34. Coming in at number 1, we have Norway. Their score is 0.922. According to Georgetown's data, Norway is ranked as the top country for women out of 170 different nations. With an average of 13 years of education, Norwegian women are among the most educated in the world. In addition, 58% of women have stable employment. Women also hold approximately 45% of parliamentary seats and have served as prime minister, of course. Erna Solberg has been the most recent, serving up until 2021.
Only about 10% of women experience their water breaking before labor. For every other woman, the water breaks during labor, either naturally or with the help of doctors. And normally when it breaks, it's not like the movies where a fountain of water just gushes out all the time. No, more than likely it's going to be water just trickling out. Now, according to Guinness Book of World Records, the record for the most amount of babies born to a woman is 69 babies. Lord have mercy, that's a lot of baby pushing. The mother was a peasant from Shuya, Russia, and she's identified only as the wife of Fyodor Vasilyev. Now, Mrs. Vasilyev, she lived during the 18th century. She had a total of 27 pregnancies, including 16 pairs of twins, 7 sets of triplets, and 4 sets of quadruplets. 4 sets of quadruplets, how ironic. Now, in giving birth, a lot of bodily fluids are leaked out. With all that pushing, many women experience pooping on the delivery bed. Yeah, it's almost inevitable, so if it happens, don't worry, don't be embarrassed. The nurses and doctors, they're trained for that kind of stuff. Now, on top of that, during childbirth, you will be passing a lot of gas, especially if you receive an epidural. The reason is because after the epidural is administered, a lot of sensation is lost below the waist. That means anything can go. There's no telling what can happen down there.
At number 5 is Theresa May. The British Prime Minister Theresa May was elected after David Cameron held a referendum after asking the public whether or not they want to separate themselves from the European Union. After the majority voted yes to the referendum, David Cameron had to resign. When Theresa May was elected, it became her job to guide her country through what has been called a really bad divorce. And you know, there's not a lot of time to get things sorted out, because you see, the deadline for the UK to withdraw from the European Union is April 2019. Now, this is a massive responsibility for any person to take on, and Theresa May's net worth sits at $3 million. Moving on to number 4, we have Angela Merkel. Angela Merkel has been the Chancellor of Germany since 2005, and since then has been acting as a de facto leader of a European coalition. Angela Merkel won a hard-fought election that saw the far-right alternative for Germany enter into German parliament. And she'll have to hold on real tight going forward as she faces some rocky roads that were caused by Brexit. She's working from a position of strength as Germany's economy continues to grow. After the dip in 2015, Germany's GDP is now rising, and her net worth is estimated to be $11.5 million. Next up, we have Indra Nooyi. As the CEO of Pepsi, Indra Nooyi is trying to push Pepsi towards healthier options while still marketing to customers that still love their less healthy products. Well, soda consumption in the US has been declining for over a decade now, so there's definitely some challenges when it comes to growing Pepsi. And Pepsi recently lost market share in its soda brands because it began focusing a little too much of its advertising dollars towards newer brands like LIFEWTR. And her estimated net worth is $151.8 million. In the number 2 spot, we have Oprah Winfrey. Oprah is an entertainment mogul, and she's having a huge resurgence of her on-screen career, including critically acclaimed performances in April of 2017, where she was in an HBO film. If you know a bit about her history, you know that she started in TV reporting, and she kind of went back to her roots as a special contributor on 60 Minutes in fall of 2017. Her own TV network, called OWN, had its most watched year in 2016, but that doesn't account for the bulk of her wealth. The bulk of Oprah's wealth came from her years in the talk show business. And you know the brand Weight Watchers? Well, yeah, Oprah bought a 10% stake in the company in 2015, and she acts as a brand ambassador. And today her current net worth is estimated to be around $3 billion. And then coming in at number 1 spot for the most powerful woman in the world is Melinda Gates. Melinda Gates continues to be the most powerful woman, especially in philanthropy, as she is the co-chair of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. She's a powerful force that can't be messed with, especially in the field of health, right? Yeah, so check this. She's making a real impact, right? And she showed the foundation's first goalkeepers report, and this report is pretty much the hard metrics that is behind what the foundation is doing. So maternal deaths in Ethiopia are down 57% since 1990, and this is largely attributed to the contribution of her foundation. She has denounced workplaces who make balancing work life and home life harder for women, and she has spoken out against sexism in the tech industry. And of course, she is married to the richest man in the world, Bill Gates. And Melinda Gates' net worth is estimated to be at $20 billion.
Number 10, we have watermelon thighs. During the opening of her new athletic clothing store in Las Vegas, Courtney Olsen achieved a remarkable feat by bursting 3 watermelons between her thighs in a mere 7.5 seconds. And this accomplishment nearly cut in half the previous Guinness World Record of 14.65 seconds held by Ukrainian bodybuilder Olga Lyashchuk since 2014. And Courtney Olsen, who is also a bodybuilder herself, also outperformed the male record set by Iranian athlete Rohala Dushamziari, and his record stood at 10.88 seconds. In at the number 9 spot, we have the largest female mouth. Sam Ramsdell, a resident of Norwalk in Connecticut, United States, first gained recognition in the record books for possessing the world's largest mouth gape for a female. Now, her mouth stretches to an impressive 6.52 centimeters, which is 2.56 inches. And of course, this has made her famous all over TikTok. And in a new achievement set on November 29th, 2022, Sam was officially verified for having the widest mouth for a female, able to extend it open to an astonishing 10.33 centimeters or 4.07 inches. Wow. Although Sam never really anticipated that her mouth opening so wide would make her so popular, she definitely is grateful for it, because when she was a child, she was actually bullied for having a large gaping mouth. Next up at number 8, we have the longest locks. According to Guinness website, Asha Mandela, a woman from Claremont, Florida, set the record for the longest locks back in 2009, and she still holds the record today with even longer hair. So check it out. Back on November 11th, 2009, Asha's locks measured 5.96 meters or 19 feet and 6.5 inches. And over the years, her hair has continued to grow, and now it measures at a staggering 33.5 meters, which is approximately 110 feet. Asha started growing her hair over 40 years ago after relocating from the island of Trinidad and Tobago to New York City, and her well-maintained locks, weighing 19 kilograms or 42 pounds, are her pride and joy. Asha affectionately refers to her hair as her royal crown of locks, or her cobra. And when she prepares for bed, she gathers her hair into a small sack. The record at number 7 has to do with visiting all the countries. Taylor de Montbriand, born on October 21st, 1994, is an American world traveler and a motivational speaker who currently holds the Guinness World Record for the fastest time to visit every sovereign country in the world. On December 7th, 2018, after traveling for 1 year and 189 days, Taylor achieved this remarkable feat, starting the journey on June 1st, 2017. And at the age of 24, she became the new record holder, surpassing Cassandra DePico. Originally from Alabama, United States, Taylor has not only made history with her record-breaking achievement, but has also previously held the title as the youngest person to travel to all the world's countries. The record for the heaviest lift comes next. Tamara Walcott from Maryland in the United States has proven herself to be an unstoppable force in the world of powerlifting. At the 2022 World Raw Powerlifting Federation American Pro event held in Virginia, United States on July 29th to 30th, Tamara's exceptional abilities were recognized. She achieved the remarkable feat of lifting a total of 737.5 kilograms or 1,620.4 pounds across 3 compound lifts: the squat, the bench press, and the deadlift. And this accomplishment secured her the records for the female heaviest cumulative lift for bench, squat, and press in a competition. Next up at number 5, this one is mind-blowing. Lowest limbo skating. So imagine limbo skating, right? Then imagine attempting this while moving at high speeds. And that's precisely what 7-year-old Deshna Aditya Nehar from India accomplished, setting a new world record for the fastest time to limbo skate under 20 cars. Now, limbo skating, also known as roller limbo, is a sport that involves maneuvering on roller skates beneath an obstacle without making contact with it. It definitely requires a lot of skill and flexibility, and Deshna successfully skated under all 20 cars in an incredible time of 13.74 seconds, surpassing the previous record of 14.15 seconds set by Li Mingfen in 2015. And the height of the gap that she had to skate through was just 30.5 centimeters or 12 inches tall. Wow. Number 4 leads us to the world's oldest gymnast. Johanna Quas, a remarkable woman from Germany, defies conventional notions about age with her extraordinary achievements in gymnastics. Recognized by Guinness World Records as the world's oldest active competitive gymnast in 2012, she continues to inspire people around the globe. She is 97 years old as of June 2023, and videos of Johanna's routines have gained a lot of attention online, and she serves as a shining example that age should never be a barrier to pursuing one's dreams and passions. Coming down to the number 3 spot, we have the most items kicked. All right, so let's get into the details of this one. Silvana Shamoun, a talented martial artist from Canada, achieved an extraordinary feat by breaking the world record for the most items kicked off people's heads in 1 minute. At the age of 23, she successfully knocked down 59 American footballs using her feet. And the record-breaking attempt took place at St. David Catholic School in Waterloo, Ontario, Canada, where a large crowd of students gathered to witness it. With her extensive martial arts experience spanning 19 years, Silvana chose to undertake this challenge to push her skills to the absolute limit. The number 2 spot leads us to the shortest woman, Wildine Amoithi. She is a charismatic 19-year-old from North Miami Beach, Florida in the United States, and she may not be tall in stature, but her vibrant personality definitely shines through. She's a remarkable young woman, and she holds a Guinness World Record for being the shortest living female who is non-mobile. Officially measured at a height of only 72 centimeters, which is 2.36 feet on October 13th, 2021, Weldine's determination and positive outlook on life have made her an inspiration to others. Weldine's main motivation to pursue this record was to encourage fellow little people to embrace their uniqueness and live life to the fullest. The final record in this episode at the number 1 spot is the oldest person ever. Jean-Louis Calment holds the distinction of being the individual who lived the longest recorded lifespan. Born on February 21st, 1875 in France, she reached the remarkable age of 122 years old and 164 days before passing away on August 4th, 1997. Jean-Louis Calment's marriage to her wealthy distant cousin, Fernand Nicolas Calment, in 1896 brought her financial security and the freedom to lead a very active life. With her financial needs taken care of, she embraced an active lifestyle, enjoying activities such as swimming, playing tennis, cycling, like even continuing to cycle up until the age of 100 years old, as well as she really enjoyed roller skating. So these were definitely some factors that health officials say contributed to her longevity of life.